Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping safe and well. We are here to talk about Tottenham's 2-0 win against Brighton this evening. We are now in a Europa Conference League spot, 3 points behind fourth place Arsenal. New boys Kulashevsky and Bentancur with the assist today. Harry Kane with another record. Now, firstly, before I introduce the guests, if you don't subscribe to the channel as yet, please do hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like button and that notification bell where YouTube will notify you every single time I upload a new video. If you're listening to this on an audio platform, do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Now, tonight's guest to talk about the Brighton v Tottenham Hotspur game. Let's start with Frank. Frank, former Towie star. Frank, how are you?
Very well, thanks, Chris. All the better for the 3 points, and obviously Arsenal losing as well. The first test they've had on their winning run, their fantastic run. And do you know what? It's a good 3 points for us because we've struggled in Brighton over the past few seasons, and much needed. Look at the positives: 3 league wins from 4 now. We've scored 13 goals in those 4 games and 3 clean sheets. So I don't care who the opposition are. We've got to take our positives, and I'm happy with that.
Absolutely. A huge 3 points tonight. Darren, let's come to you. How are you? Impressionist, of course, on Britain's Got Talent. How are you?
I don't like to talk about it. It was what it was. It's not. Thank you. It's not about me though, Chris. Good, and some great performances, some very solid performances, which I'm sure we'll discuss. So yeah, it was good.
We've also got good friends of the show, Paralympic gold medalist Richard Whitehead MBE, and of course, part of the winning team of Celebrity Hunted. Richard, how are you?
How's it going, mate? Yeah, always good to be on the show. Whatever the result, but especially when Arsenal effing lose and Spurs win. So it's great to be here, and I'm sure we're going to have some awesome conversation and debate about today's game.
Rich, before we talk about the football, I just want your thoughts on winning Celebrity Hunted. You must be absolutely delighted.
Awesome. Yeah, we won a lot of money for Stand Up to Cancer, myself and Ewan Thomas. Ewan's a great guy. Ewan made it to the end. I got him to day 12. Unfortunately, I got caught. But yeah, and the thing is as well, you just look at society of today. It's all about teams, right? Building a strong team, a strong foundation. Me and Ewan did that, and hopefully in the summer when our main man Conte gets some money, we can build the foundations for the future. Do you like that little link?
Yeah, love it. Love
and
it.
with that, it's good night.
Well, many congratulations on that win, Richard. Absolutely fantastic.
Cheers, Darren. Cheers,
Frank, let's start with you. Let's talk about tonight's game. Give me your thoughts on tonight's match, because as you've just said there, a huge 3 points for Spurs. We're now in that Europa Conference League spot. We are now 3 points away from the top 4. Are you believing again?
I'm being careful, but I'm looking at the runs of teams around us. Obviously, we've got some tricky away games, the biggest one being Anfield. But I think this West Ham game on the weekend, on Sunday, is massive. It's huge. Because if we do beat them, I can't see them finishing above us. It will give us that boost we need. As I said, we're in a better patch of form now. And what I've noticed, even in tonight's game, is we're starting to see Conte's patterns form. And I think, in particular, once we get more quality in the wing-back areas, because tonight, again, I thought Reguilon was defended really well. I actually thought he had a pretty solid game. But I just feel in this system, we need more quality from goal contributions from the wide areas. Again, we are starting to see these patterns of play. I like the partnership of Hoibjerg and Bentancur tonight. I thought they were brilliant. Both of them were absolutely brilliant. We started well. We sort of drifted a bit after that good start. Obviously, Kane missed a very good chance. We let them come back into it. But I felt after we got the second goal, we were completely in control. Kane, after probably a poor first half, started getting the golf clubs out in the second half and hitting all the left and the right foot passes, got his goal. Should have had a penalty at the end. And brilliant performance from Romero. Eric Dyer as well. I don't think he missed one header. I don't think he lost a duel in the air. If I'm going to... The only concern I've got at the moment, and I don't want to bring things down after a win and, again, a good performance, but my one concern at the moment is Sonny. He doesn't look himself.
I think really, it looks a little bit fatigued as well, doesn't he? I think his legs... Yeah, it looks like his legs have gone a bit. And I think if you look at seasons before, that he does have this element of his game where he has so many games in a row, and then all of a sudden the fatigue kicks in, and then he gets injured. So maybe we need to be really concerned about obviously what he's doing in future games.
I agree, and it also looks lacking a bit of confidence. I think when he does everything off the cuff and it's first time and it's instinctive, that's when you see the best of Sonny. But he seems to be second guessing his decision making. Wasn't the best performance from him, and we need him fit and firing for this running if we're going to stand any chance of breaking into that top four. But overall, Chris, we can nitpick because there were patches in the game where we did sort of let him have the ball and we were a little bit sloppy. But I can see now, and I've started to see it more so recently, the identity that Conte is installing into this team. And we've spoken about you and Chris before, about Spurs have lacked an identity now for a good sort of 2.5 years. And we're starting to see one. And I like what I'm seeing. Again, massive game on the weekend, but brilliant 3 points. Weeknight game after a tough game on the weekend, in the cold, the wet, the rain, the wind. So can't complain, Chris, but we've got to be positive tonight because it's not an easy place to go to. I know Brighton are not on the best of runs, but it's been a bit of a bogey ground for us in recent seasons. So very positive, happy, and on to Sunday.
Yeah, I completely agree, Frank. Lots of positives to take from tonight. Rich, let's come to you. Your thoughts on tonight's match?
Well, I knew we'd win anyway because we were that inconsistent. We win, we lose, we win, we lose, and so I was confident we'd play a lot better. Frustrating with obviously the game against United where Ronaldo again. Like, I don't care what happens, just get 3 men on Ronaldo. That's it, we're beaten. And then going into this game, I was like, look, we need to show the confidence that we've been playing against the likes of Leeds in previous games, where we've felt confident in the ball, like the sitting players kind of really controlling the games, and then having obviously those runners between the lines. I still obviously like Chris and fellow panelists, that I've got massive concerns about the wing backs. Generally, Reggers is obviously our strongest in this position, but Emerson Royal, obviously when he plays, he's just a little bit weak, and obviously he looks like he's just hold on to the ball for too long. So we need to have, I would say, in the summer, 4 or 5 players kind of come in, kind of refresh the whole team, get rid of some of the old tosh. But also today was all about kind of the momentum moving forward to the top 4. I'm looking in the comments, and it looks like a lot of the guys, a lot of the Spurs fans are still saying that it's top 4's within our grasp and in our reach. And I'm an optimist, but let's still have that hope. But we need to build off this result. Like Frank was saying, like Brighton hasn't been a great hunting ground for us in the past. We ground out that result. I think there was parts of the play today where we didn't really know our identity until Conte was kind of shouting from the sidelines saying, come on, shape, get into your shape. Come on, let's hold our positions, win the ball back, and then hit on the break. We need to play differently away and at home. And I feel we need to have the players to be able to do that. And at the moment, we're struggling within numbers, but I think we've still got a great opportunity in the next couple of weeks, especially like Frank said, again, against West Ham. It's a key game for us for the whole season.
It really does set up that West Ham game on Sunday so
sure.
nicely, because of course both teams have the same points now, and so many teams are fighting for that top 4 spot. And certainly, as you said, Frank, earlier about Arsenal losing this evening to Liverpool 2-0. Darren, let's come to you. Your thoughts on tonight's game? Happy?
I am. Frank and Richard have sort of stolen my thunder a little bit. I'm concerned with the wing backs. I mean, I just don't think I've always been a fan of Reguilon. I think he does what a wing back, should do. You think of Danny Rose and Simon Davis and Carl Walker, bombing down, beating players and putting a ball into the box. That's all you can ask of them, beat a player and put a ball into the box. And Reggie, I like him. Obviously the right hand side we've got issues that really needs to be sorted out. I was just looking at the fixtures coming up, and until we've got Liverpool on May the 7th, listen, like you say, if we can beat West Ham, we've got Newcastle, Villa, Brighton, Brentford and Leicester. Now they're all winnable games. You know, if we can beat West Ham and we got Newcastle at home, I know they've picked up form, then there's no reason that we can't pick up, you know, a lot of points before we meet Liverpool on the 7th of May. Again, I'm slightly, the only thing, I don't want to like go as soon as you come to me, because I'm thrilled about tonight, but I'm slightly concerned that we need to find other ways to break teams down. And by that, I mean, you know, if a team comes at us like Brighton had to do when we got that goal, we do, you know, Kane's passing and playing balls in behind and getting goals on the break is amazing. But the only thing that concerns me, Chris, is that when teams sit back, and we've seen it time and time again, we get a bit stuck. We haven't got our wing backs bombing forward and putting balls across. We can't play in behind them, and that's where I mean, maybe, you know, you can help me with this, but I struggle to see how we break teams down that like to sit back.
Yeah, that plan B, right?
Yeah, the plan B, Rich, and that's my only concern at the moment. And I'd be interested to hear what all the other guys and some of the comments think about that, because that is a worry to me.
We need a locksmith, Darren.
We need a locksmith.
The last couple of games.
We had one of those in Ericsson. Rich,
look at the last couple of games he's had for Brentford, and some of them passes he's been playing and crosses. He's available on a free transfer in the summer.
He better come to us.
If he keeps that form up.
Do you think we'll go there, Frank?
Chris, get that Uber account open and get Ericsson in that Uber to our home ground and sign him up, man.
I'll tell you, I got laughed at a number of times when I said I'd like to see Christian Eriksen back, because, you know, we've not replaced Eriksen. So what better player to replace Eriksen with than Eriksen? You know, and as you said, you know, and absolutely fantastic at the moment for Brentford. Now, in the last couple of minutes, Antonio Conte said it means we are improving and we're trying to go in another step to try and be very close to the top of the table. It is right to have ambition, and I put ambition in my players. At this moment, we are ready to fight for every game. Frank, let's come to you. Let's talk about the starting 11. I think this starting 11 at the moment is just picking itself, isn't it? Hugo Lloris in goal, the back three of Romero, Dyer and Davis, wing backs Reguilon and Matt Doherty. In midfield, Bentancur and Hoibjerg. Forward three of Kulashevsky, Heung-min Son and Harry Kane. No real surprises there, is there?
No, and I agree with both Richard and Darren in the fact that I think Reguilon is the player with the most quality out of the four wing-backs we have available. But I also feel that it, particularly in this system, we have to get that right this summer. We do need two top-quality wing-backs, because not only does a locksmith help, a player who can pass through the lines or see those passes that many others can't, but when you're struggling to break teams down, we don't have wing-backs who have got a trick who can go past the player. I mean, Reguilon's got pace and he can get him behind, but I'm saying standing their opposing number up one-on-one and be out like a Reece James, for instance, or who can actually take players on. We haven't got one on either side in the wing-back positions. So it's imperative that we get that right in the summer. But yeah, the team picks itself at the moment. The positive of that is continuity, but I'd say the negative is it feels to me like we have another manager who doesn't necessarily trust his bench because of the lack of depth the squad has. I mean, look at our bench in recent games and tonight.
Weak as piss. Yeah.
Could have scored you a goal coming off the bench. I mean, you could argue Lucas or Stephen Bergwijn, but barring a couple of fits and spurts from Bergwijn, he hasn't done it for us regularly. And Lucas is unfortunately a very inconsistent player. So I do feel that he hasn't got many options. The team pretty much picks itself, but again, the positive side of things is these players are now getting used to each other's games. We're not in any cup competition, so fatigue shouldn't really kick in between now and the end of the season. But it seems a more settled team. Obviously, we're far from perfect. I'm not naive. I'm not sitting here saying that we're going to go on a run now and make top four, because we know what Tottenham are like. But the fact that we do have a settled starting 11 can surely only help each player again understand their teammates that little bit further. So I think we'll probably see an unchanged starting 11 on Sunday against West Ham, and hopefully it's a benefit to us between now and May.
Completely
Frank,
agree. I think. Sorry, consistency is the key. Completely agree.
Yeah.
And you look at all the teams. You know, a manager that chops and changes, like Mourinho. You know, he didn't know. We didn't know what he was going to put out from one game to the next. But I completely agree, Frank.
Frank, I was going to come back and say, you know, all three of you have mentioned the wing backs. Would you expect Reguilon, Sessegnon, Matt Doherty, or Emerson Royale? Would you expect any of them to be starting for Spurs next season or fully replaced?
On the right-hand side, I expect fully replaced. I expect one of them to go at least. On the left-hand side, unfortunately for Sessegnon, I'm not his biggest fan, but I'm not going to criticise him. He started to me, it seemed like he was Conte's number one on that left-hand side. And obviously he's injured now. But I feel that Reguilon has got more potential than he's shown us. I feel that there is a player in there. However, I don't know, because he's had 3 really good chances in the last few games. I know he scored. But tonight, Kane has played a perfect ball. The weight of pass and where the pass was in front of him to put him in behind. Technically, I don't care if you're naturally a left back. You know, you're taught as a young boy. Particularly, he played at Real Madrid in their academy. You go across the goalkeeper, you go hard and low.
Yeah, for sure.
And it seems to me, he doesn't know what to do when he's in goal scoring positions. So it's hard to say, but I do expect. I mean, there's also the rumour circulating that Real Madrid want him back, so that might be a factor. But Chris, I expect a new right wing back, whatever the weather. And on the left hand side, I'm not 100% sure, but I do feel that from Conte's point of view, those will be the positions that he will look to improve first and foremost out of any other position in the team.
Rich, let's come to you. Do you agree with Frank there about the wing backs? Would you like to see 2 new wing backs coming in the summer?
Yeah, maybe. I think obviously Sessegnon and Reggers are players that Conte sees the ability, sees maybe the future for the club within those positions. They need to have some kind of competition in those positions. I still feel centre back. Obviously, Davis is just filling in there. I think it looks like he's trying to fill in for not only the centre back, but he's obviously trying to come across and kind of really protect that wing back position sometimes. And then like Frank said, the lock keeper. We need that. We need somebody like the Ericsson to come back into the team and really kind of dominate the game and provide the bullets for the likes of Sonny and Kane. I think what we need to do is we need to look at the team and we need to think, is this team a top 4 team? And if not, we need to upskill it, up-tool it. We need to make it better. Forget what we always think. Oh, yeah. Davis is always a 7 out of 10. It's not good enough. It literally isn't good enough. It's not good enough for the team. I've said this before, and even Doherty's had a couple of good games where he's kind of come inside and provided those kind of killer passes. But if he's not good enough in his position, then he's not good enough, and we need to upskill it. As a Spurs team now, we need to have great players in great positions to move the team forwards.
Well, just quickly there, I did actually put a tweet out about half an hour ago saying that 2 wing backs of top quality, you can add goals and assists, and a left-sided centre back, and that starting 11 is a completely different side.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Left-sided centre back, I'd like him to obviously be left-footed, but I'd like a taller one.
Yeah, for sure.
Romero's got that dominant in the air. Dyer's good enough in the air. If we can get a tall, nice lefty to replace Ben Davis, I think that's a solid back 3.
Sure. I agree.
Rich, I was going to come back to your point there about, are we a top 4 team? I don't think we are a top 4 team, and I think it would be a huge achievement for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club and Antonio Conte to guide us into the top 4. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, overachievement, 100%. A lot of people have been talking about like Arteta overachieving at the moment. I think Conte would overachieve if we've got us into the top 4. We've got a lot of work to do at the moment, though. You look at obviously the fixtures that we've got coming up. We've got some hard fixtures, and I think the Brighton game is giving us a bit of stability within that as well. We need to build off that now. Maybe get that scrappy 1-0 win against the Hammers. We need to build off it, though. The next game, I think, it's pivotal to our season. If we lose the next game, we're going to be nowhere near. And then we're going to be 5th or 6th. And that's ridiculous for Conte. Conte is going to stay if he sees potential within the team and sees where the aspirations of the board are and the investment. We need a lot of investment. I feel that we can attract that. We can attract the investment. We can attract the team through having a fantastic manager, having a great infrastructure. But like Conte said, time and time again, you listen to him, he said the infrastructure's there. We need to have the team now to really show what Spurs are about at the moment.
Darren, let's come to you. We talk about inconsistency. How are you feeling as a Spurs fan right now? Because the fact that we keep losing, winning, losing, winning, it's like every other game. We have this process, and then we're all sad for a weekend, and then we're all up again, and then it's we come down again, like against Manchester United at the weekend, and now we're all up again. How are you feeling right now?
I mean, it's not good. It's like it's not good. I mean, you get a win like today, and but I think the loss against Man United has sort of taken the gloss off tonight. Does that make sense? Because I think we're all sort of still licking our wounds from that. They're not that great, and it was a Ronaldo masterclass. It was Ronaldo FC. It was Ronaldo FC, and we should have beaten them. That they're not that good. Let's be honest. They're not that good. They were there for the taking. So today was good. In answer to your question, it's up and down, and I think Rich said it. When they say we're by far the greatest team the world has ever seen, we're not. We're really not. We're not top four. And if we get there, it would be more luck than judgment. Sorry.
A miracle.
It would be a miracle, but I think and I don't want to say next season, because it's the old Spurs thing, isn't it? Next season. But I think Rich is right, and regarding what you were talking about, the wing backs and the team picking itself, you are right. But let's not forget that Doherty / Royal, I don't think they're there on merit. Do you know what I mean? They're not there on merit. They're there because we've got no other bloody option. So until we can sort those positions out and absolutely get players who will be there on merit, then we're going to have this roller coaster, because we are where we are. We are where we are. And I think they're right. I think the West Ham game is absolutely pivotal. If we win that, 2 games in a row, and then we kick on, especially after Arsenal's loss tonight. If we lose that, if our heads are dropping as fans, imagine what the teams are like. Coming out, getting on the team bus every bloody week. God almighty. Must be awful for them.
Frank, let's come to you. Now, in the 5th minute of the game, Harry Kane closed the goalkeeper down and seemed to miss a very, very easy chance that all of us would probably put our mortgage on, saying that Harry Kane would finish. Were you surprised?
I was stunned. I couldn't believe it. I literally could not believe what I saw. But I mean, it happens to the best of them. You've seen, great players who achieve greatness do miss sitters, and tonight he achieved greatness. We can't forget that he's now broken Wayne Rooney's record for most away goals in Premier League history. I mean, I saw a really distasteful tweet. I think it was Paddy Power when that came up on Twitter, said that, that's another trophy for Kane to put in his his cabinet or whatever. But I thought, you idiots, he's now gone down in history. I mean, he can keep going with this record and keep this record for years, because he's got another 5 or 6 seasons in him, in my opinion, at the top level with the way that he lives his life. But yeah, it was a shocking miss, but he scored and he should have had a penalty at the end. I don't know why that wasn't given. That was bizarre. And he'll continue to get us goals. So, if Harry Kane does miss a few chances, as he was at the beginning of the season, and Chris, I've been on the show and the other pods that I do and shows that I do, I said, you've got to be a complete idiot to doubt the man. And I'm glad I've been proven right as the season's progressed, because he did have a dodgy start today. He was poor for the first sort of half an hour or even the first half. Ball was getting stuck under his feet. He couldn't get the ball out of his feet. But in the second half, he stepped up. And that's what he's been doing for us since he burst onto the scene in the Spurs shirt. Mr. Reliable. He missed that chance, but he scored a top goal with his left foot tonight. And that's what he does.
I think mentality-wise, this season, we've seen a shift with that kind of get your head into the moment. I've definitely seen, the first part of the season, I felt fitness-wise, he wasn't really engaged in the games. I don't think he was really, his head was in it. But after obviously he committed to kind of the cause, there's been a mind shift around. If he misses, then he's gonna make sure the next chance he makes, he's not going to make the same mistakes. I've noticed that kind of mind shift, and there's been a couple of games where he's kind of, come on boys, we've just conceded, but come on everybody, minds back into it. Come on, we can get back in this game. There's a lot of belief there with Harry this season. I've definitely seen a mind shift, and also I think that kind of opportunity to away games, he's been kind of a little bit, instead of on the front foot, he's been on the back foot a little bit. And that's been not just him, it's been some of the other players where away on a kind of a cold night in Brighton or wherever it's been, we've not been just on it like we've normally been on it. And so that's probably something that Conte, with his kind of really hard fitness regime, that's something that I'm sure he's looking at, thinking, in some of our away games, are we really on it from the first minute? That's something maybe he can really improve. And Harry's probably one of the players that probably is thinking about that as well.
Rich, let's stay with you. Now, in the 15th minute, Harry Kane had a shot, went over the bar from distance. 16th minute, Bentancur, a long distance clearance over our bar, which I thought was quite bizarre. And then in the 37th minute, Romero got our first goal. I think everyone thought that it was Kulashevsky. An interesting one, because Reguilon to Son to Kulashevsky, deflected onto Romero. Do you think he knew much about it?
Well, no chance was he. He's just in the way. That's it. And that's the thing, isn't it? I think you're going to accept those as players. You're going to go, yeah, thanks. I'm sure he's got a little bit of a scoring bonus as well to come as well for that. But obviously he has, I think, for the team, brought that energy, hasn't he? Both Kulashevsky, Romero. I think Romero with a bite in the tackle, and I think he's obviously got a bit of crap about the stuff with. Obviously, Maguire, but who cares? Who cares? You want players that are going to get stuck in. Do you know what? The best thing about going to the old White Hart Lane was when a player's running down the wing from the opposition, and then one of our wing backs or centre backs like wipes them out, and then the crowd get behind the team, and that kind of real grit and determination. That's what we want. And Kulashevsky, I think he's going to be something. He's going to be a player where we're going to actually go, actually, he's a bit of a diamond and we need to protect him. But also, has he found his kind of real true position yet? Maybe not. Maybe he'll be the player that fits behind Kane. He's got a great use of the ball. He's strong as hell. He's like a right bullet at a gate. And also, his will to win. He's obviously been in a great Juventus side. Yes, they dismissed him as a player. But I feel he's going to be somebody that proves those doubters wrong. I think he's a great find, great find.
21 years old. He's got bags.
Yeah, 21. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
IQ is superb. The way that he sees the picture, the way that he looks after the ball.
Low centre of gravity, great player.
Different to what we've had with Lucas and Stephen Bergwijn.
For sure.
And going back just quickly to what Rich said about Romero. We've been called by Jose in the infamous documentary, The Nice Team. Managers have said that we're too passive. We've now got, he's an animal, Romero.
Yeah, we need to smash players,
And he'll get bookings, he'll frustrate us, and he'll do cynical things that you'll sit there and go, oh, why have you done that? But it's the Premier League. You have to be aggressive.
We lack, and it's a stupid thing to say, but we lacked yellow cards because for a period, like we weren't getting, there was no wallop. And now we're getting a few, and it's like, thank you. It shows heart, it shows desire, it shows getting stuck in. We don't want to be the nice, pretty boys because we can't pass.
Doesn't win you football matches, Darren.
No, it doesn't. You're absolutely right. And now we've got, and I'll use my favourite phrase. You can do the Darren buzzword bingo. Bit of shithousery. There you go. And that's what we want, and that's why I like Reggie, because as well as being, he's fast, he's pacey, he beats people, he will put a ball in, but he's got that needle, and I like that about him. And I think that how old's Reggie?
23.
He's 23. Okay, so he's got time, and he's got time to develop and bulk up and get even more needle. Great, that's what we need. That's what we need. We can't be rolled over and have our tummies tickled every bloody match.
And I think when people talk about the Spursy thing, I think it's that softness. You know what I mean? That we kind of go ahead against teams, and then we just kind of lay back, or we sit back and let the other teams come on to us. I think no, we need to kind of be confident, but also be strong in the tackle and make sure we kind of show teams that we're not pissing about anymore. We're a proper team, and we're going to go places in the future.
Was it Rich? Was it Ferguson, the quote, who said, I think when they were 2-0 down or something, and they said, "Don't worry, lads, it's Spurs," and
it's only Tottenham, yeah.
It's only Tottenham, and that's the mentality. That's the sort of Roy Keane, way of thinking. Oh, it's only Spurs. We can beat them. It's only Spurs. It's only Tottenham.
It's so nice though, Darren, the fact that we've had 2 new signings in the January transfer window. They've both hit the ground running, and they both look like they have been with the club for months, if not years.
Yeah.
Well, I've said it to you, but I mean it's worth saying again on the chat. So forgive me for repeating myself, Chris. But you did a chat when we first signed Kulashevsky and Bentancur, and it was an Italian fan and a Spanish journalist. I forget who it was, and my head sunk because it sounded like they knew what they were talking about. And they said there's a reason that Juventus let them go. They said they are average at best, and I was like, oh,
yeah, they were skint.
Have you seen their results tonight, Darren?
Yeah,
have you seen Juventus just got popped 3-0 by Villarreal with a team of ex-Tottenham players?
Oh God! Well, there you go. And I remember I was watching it on a bus, like watching this video, and I was thinking, "Oh bloody hell, these knowledgeable Italian journalists, slamming these players." And you're absolutely right. We've got 2 great signings there, and they can only get better.
Would you lot say, with all 3 of you, this is a question to you as well, Chris, would Bentancur be your man of the match tonight?
Fantastic.
I thought he was great, but I would actually give it to Harry Kane just for his passing and his goal as well, and of course breaking that record. But I thought Bentancur was excellent.
Yeah, and his strength and even the decision making, especially in midfield. I think sometimes Hoibjerg's decision making has been a little bit it's been more passive, and I think Bentancur brings something where he's driving that ball forwards, and also you can see the intent with him. You can also see that he's got 2 great feet. And whether that's in our box or moving that ball through the lines.
And this is the thing, going back to Darren's comment, I read a thread on Twitter from an expert who'd been watching Bentancur. I mean, he was a player that I'd seen. I didn't know a lot about Kulashevsky, but I was very excited about the Bentancur signing. And he compared Bentancur to Winks in this thread. So they're very similar.
Nothing like him. Nothing
like each other. So it just goes to show some of these so-called experts, they give their verdict and it means nothing.
Bentancur's a good-looking lad as well, so.
He is.
Well, Antonio Conte has said Kulashevsky is shown to be a fantastic prospect. He's only 22 years old. You can see that he is strong physically, good talent. They're helping us a lot. He then went on to talk about Harry Kane and said Harry Kane is starting to understand with the team. He needs every game, many chances to improve his record and score. Frank, let's come to you. I want to talk a little bit more about Kulashevsky because just before the half-time break in the 43rd minute, Kulashevsky came close to making it 2-0 for Tottenham. A defensive error, left foot shot, goalkeeper saved. I'll tell you what, if the score was 0-0 and, or even if we had lost that game tonight, we'd have probably been cursing him. That was a glorious chance, wasn't it?
Fantastic chance. He's one-on-one. He's got time to pick his spot and think. And it was frustrating in the first half because we should have really been out of sight. We started well and then we let them come back into it. But it's positive that we're creating Kulashevsky those chances to miss in the first place. But his impact's been brilliant. I mean, the fact, even against Manchester United, his cross that won the penalty, he's come in instantly and he's put numbers up. And the numbers that he's put up have surpassed the likes of Steven Bergwijn, the likes of Lo Celso, the likes of Tanguy Ndombele. Players who spent a lot of money on and didn't hit the ground running. And every Spurs fan I speak to has said to me, how refreshing is it that we've got 2 new signings that have slotted straight into the team seamlessly and have improved us. And I'll let him off for that chance, although he has to bury that because he's been composed in those situations. He always does tend to make the right decision, in my opinion. And unfortunately...
It's good to miss those when we win, though, isn't it? It's good to miss those when we win.
Yeah, of course. And as Chris said, you make a great point, Chris. In a bigger game against a harder team, maybe even Anfield away, it's 0-0 early in the game. He misses that, we get punished. but I don't want to be too critical of him because I thought he played well again tonight, although he should have got a goal from that chance.
Rich, let's come to you. Now, just before half-time, Harry Kane was brought down outside the Brighton box. And I thought, interestingly, who is going to take this free kick? Harry Kane steps up again. For you, who should be on the Tottenham Hotspur free kicks? Because I bring this subject up every single chat, and Harry Kane still seems to be over the ball.
James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah, I know.
Chris, it's a great question. I'll ask you another quick question, so you can answer. Are we the worst side in the Premier League at taking direct free kicks in and around the box?
We must be.
The amount of chances that we've had and that we've not converted, and surely now we need to think about that position for the future. Come on. When either Kane or Dyer's taking the free kicks, I'm going, for fuck's sake, like, it's going to go into the wall. They're not specialists. That scenario is for somebody like a Ward-Prowse, like Darren said. And I've been on the pod with Darren loads of times, and Darren has said, Ward-Prowse, somebody that adds something to the team like that. If you're getting somebody that's adding 20 goals a season, even if it's 12 goals a season from those positions, how many free kicks have we had in those positions? And we've got nothing. We've not even got like a rebound off somebody off the wall or into the top corner. Nothing at all. It's been it's a laughing joke. Sonny, obviously corners. Yeah, he's got some great ability there. I think even from the corners, we've not been as proficient as we should have been. But free kicks is a laughing stock.
Do you think that no one has the bottle to actually take the ball off Harry Kane? Because surely, when it's gone on for this long, and how many free kicks that Harry Kane has missed, it's crazy, isn't it?
Just not got the ability. You just look at it. It's like who in the team's got the ability? Who's going to step up apart from Harry? Harry's obviously, clearly, within those positions, thinks that he's the most able. But unfortunately, you look at his record; it's terrible.
But who's doing it in training when they're on the training pitch and they're lining it all up with the dummies? I mean, who's actually
dummies?
I'm not talking about us four. Who's doing it? Like, who's?
Aaron, do you know I've seen videos of Spurs training, on the socials and so on, and it's always Eric Dyer that seems to be the one that sticks him in the top corner.
Right.
But Harry Kane has got to have more self-awareness, in my opinion, unless we are that bad that there is nobody literally who can stick one in from a free kick, because he can't. It's the only thing he can't do. But in my opinion, he has to be a bit more self-aware, because, Chris, you might even have the stats somewhere. How many free kicks has he had, direct free kicks, since he last? How many has he taken since he last scored from one? Do you know that?
Well, the last one I remember, Frank, is when he really burst onto the scene, and that was Aston Villa away, and that was what really kick-started his career.
Deflected.
Yeah, it was deflected. Yeah, it was deflected. You're right.
And Addy Bayor was in the team at that point. That's how long we're talking.
Right.
Says it all.
Yeah, I've seen him playing and he was useless.
Right, Darren, let's come to you. Let's talk about Tottenham's second goal, because there was a shout for a handball. Hoibjerg, apparently his hand. And then, of course, Harry Kane broke the Premier League record, 95 away goals in the Premier League, breaking Wayne Rooney's record. What did you make of that goal? Because what an absolutely fantastic ball from Rodrigo Bentancur.
Great, and that's what we were saying. He's slotted well. Not only is he great at breaking up play, and but he's got that vision. He looks forward. If that had been Winks, it'd have been in Lloris's hands. So a fantastic ball, and great near post. I thought he was going to cut across, but he didn't. He probably gave him the eyes and went near post. I thought that was quite cheeky of Kane, actually. But great. And as long as you've got people like who are, it's what we've been crying out for. People like Bentancur who want to get the ball forward, for Christ's sake. I'm fed up of this side to side. And going off the subject slightly, that's what pisses me off about Doherty. I don't think he did a decent forward pass tonight. But absolutely right. Great vision by Bentancur and a lovely finish by Kane. I've written down, because I always make notes, you know, when I know I'm coming on here. And I put a great aggressive play by Romero leading up to the goal. You know, just like wallop, great, really good. Forward thinking. That's what we want. Don't care what we do, just fucking get it forward, for God's sake. I've had seasons with it going side and backwards. We're done with all that now. Come on.
Frank, let's come to you now. In the 72nd minute, Harry Kane I'll tell you what a wonderful ball it was to Sergio Reguilon, and another moment where he just had to score. These fullbacks are getting into a lot of goal scoring positions, so whoever is playing at fullback, whether it be Matt Doherty and Sergio Reguilon, you know, they've got to find their finishing boots, because I think that they're going to have a number of opportunities from now until the end of the season. And as we said, you know, if it is a really important moment in a really important game, which they're all important now until the end of the season, they've got to score. But Reguilon, he had to score that, didn't he?
He had to. And I think if you look at history, Matt Doherty did do it for Wolves. He did score. I think he was the second highest scoring right fullback for 2 or 3 seasons in the
Talk to me about Matt Doherty.
But I'm saying I'm not saying that he's at the required quality we need to move forward. But Chris is right. They're going to get opportunities between now and the end of the season. And if you think, again, I know we're a long way off the Liverpools, the Chelseas and the Manchester Cities, but if you look at the quality that they have from their wing-back areas, if they were playing with somebody like Harry Kane, they'd score even more goals and create even more chances. But it's something that they have to. If I'm Reguilon and I'm looking at this now, I'll be doing extras in training and working on my shooting. Ball coming across on my left, drilling it back low, coming, you know, back the way it went, so to speak, across the goal. And working on that, because they will get opportunities. And for them personally, it's an opportunity for them to add to their stats and their goal tallies and so on. And we need better. We can't keep having these same conversations week on week, saying, "Oh, Reguilon's missed another great chance," or, you know, it's frustrating. And that's something that needs improving on. And it's down to me, to those individuals, to do the extras, do the training drills, and improve themselves here, because they will get chances in this side.
Can I just say, so am I correct? Son was on the middle, wasn't he? He was unmarked. He could have pulled it back to.
It's a good chance. I agree, but it's still a good chance, Darren. For
yeah.
He's in behind. He's 1-on-1. He's made the wrong decision. He's got to hit that low and hard across to the back post. He's got to drill that, and that's just down to, again, what you do on the training ground.
And maybe confidence as well. Maybe confidence in those positions is not just confident in those one-on-ones. And like you said, Frank, that maybe he just needs to do some more work on the training field moving forwards. It's one of those things, isn't it, where you go, that's a key moment of a game. Look, yes, we won 2-0, but that could be a real key moment. And we're a counter-attacking team at the moment. We clearly play that counter-attacking. So Reguilon, Doherty, their finishing needs to be on point. If not, again, they're not good enough.
Well, it's not only that, Rich. We've got a goal difference now of +8. West Ham have got +12. Of course, a difference of 4 goals. So, you know, in tonight's game, you could argue saying that we could have scored 4, 5, or 6 goals tonight easily.
And for sure, that's been other games as well. You look at the other games that we've had as well, that we've missed those opportunities where, yes, we beat Leeds 4-0, and we could have been 5 or 6 up against Leeds, and yes, we could have conceded 1 or 2, but I think we could have won 5 or 6 by 5 or 6 against Leeds due to lack of confident finishing or just missed opportunities.
Well, Everton, Rich. What about Everton?
Yeah, I know.
For the last 20
we
minutes.
Dick them, didn't we?
7 or 8 past Everton.
Yeah. Rich, you said don't talk to me about Matt Doherty. Why not? Don't you think he's improved under Conte?
We're not in that position, though. Not in that position. I was like, I looked at him the other day, and I was like, going, "You're not a wing back there. You floated into that Eriksen role." I'm going, you're pinging the ball about left, right, and centre, and I'm going, that's great against a weaker team, but do your job. I've always said you need to have strong players in the position that do their jobs, that defend well. If you're wing backs, it's great going forward, but you need to be able to defend. And do we need to look at other options there as well? Can Lucas play one of those roles? Maybe. Can he be a wing back in the team? I think Doherty, against the better teams, I just think he looks weak. And also, we bought him for certain kinds of play, and he can't really do that. I just think he's quite slow. And I'm a sprinter, so I know what speed is. sorry,
and also, he gives the ball away, Rich. I was, you know, when you go through periods of a game, you just sort of focus on one player and just sort of, you know, like player cam. And I was looking at Doherty, and he gives the ball away loads. It's like, fucking hell, man.
Yeah,
you know,
it's frustrating. It's frustrating as a fan.
Gents, we need better at right wing back than the
for
two.
Sure.
Regardless
if we've got aspirations for Champions League, we need obviously. Like you're saying, Frank, we need obviously better quality. Well, whoever bought Matt Doherty in was thinking that that form that was with Wolves is going to transfer to Spurs. But Wolves and Spurs are clearly different teams with different expectations.
Totally, I agree.
Well, it was Jose Mourinho.
Do you know what though? In the Amazon documentary, you remember Matt Doherty, and this is typical Spurs, always used to play well against us. He actually scored against us.
Yeah.
And I remember in that documentary, Jose Mourinho was really passionate, saying Matt Doherty's so aggressive, and there was that part, and I think that was why he signed him. But we signed him as a right back, not a wing back. He'd come from a system, as Rich said, with different expectations at Wolves, lower expectations. Worked his way up. He'd been with them in the Championship, so he was very comfortable at Wolves. And I think he's just not stepped up to the plate at Spurs. It didn't help that he came in playing a completely different system. He's definitely not a right back in a back four. And unfortunately, his confidence has just been drained during his time at Spurs. And I think recently Conte's trying to bring that back. And you probably, Chris, to be fair, could say that there have been improvements in Matt Doherty. But he's not good enough for where we want to be, if we're being blunt and totally honest. And we need to do better at right wing back.
And that's been the conversation about Harry Winks as well all the time. We need to move him on. Don't keep him in the team if he's not good enough. Move him on and let the lad flourish at another team.
It's like sentimentality, isn't it? You know, that some you know, we stick with players because of, you know, especially Winks, you know, being one of our own, so to speak. But you're right, like just let him go, like let him fly the nest.
Darren, Richard mentioned Lucas Moura there, which, of course, since Kulashevsky's come into the team, Lucas Moura seems to be getting very limited minutes. Is there a part of you that feels sorry for him a little bit?
When you think about what he did against Ajax, you know, and the joy he's given us since he's been at Tottenham, but I think on merit, has been said already. I think Kulashevsky, I think, just offers more. I just think he offers more, and his layoff is better. He'll make a forward run. He'll check. He'll stop. He'll hold up the plate, look around, cut in, a nice pass. He's got all that in his locker. Whereas Lucas, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's like shit off a shovel when he goes. You know, you can't catch him, but he runs down blind alleys, and yes, he'll give us, you know, the odd free kick outside the area, which is great. But it's his final ball, and I'm slightly intrigued why that hasn't that has never sort of been addressed in training, or a previous manager has said, okay, Lucas, like you get to a certain point, you need to be looking up and seeing who's around you, because as great it is that is you're making up ground and getting into their territory, you know, you're losing the ball too much for our liking. But from what I've seen of Kulashevsky, he's just more solid. He seems to be more aware, a better footballing brain for me, just like aware of what's around him, seeing where everyone is, stop, cutting in. He's got a wicked left foot. Yeah, I think he's there on merit.
Much better touch, Darren.
Yeah.
He's got a much better touch.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, he looks after the ball so much better. He gets you up the pitch, and I know Lucas can get you out with his pace.
Yeah.
But he just looks after the ball so much better for me. The actual quality on the football is there's a massive noticeable difference between those two.
Yeah. Frank, let's stay with you. In the 86th minute, there was a funny clearance from Hugo Lloris. He hit Eric Dyer straight on the back of the head with his bandage on. Poor guy. He apologised to him just moments later. In stoppage time, Kulashevsky went off. Steven Bergwijn went on. Now, with this starting 11, I mentioned Lucas Moura there. Steven Bergwijn is another one, very limited game time. Do you think that they will get much of a look in from now until the end of the season?
Only if there's injuries. I mean, there'll be bench players, and the fixture list now, I think this is one of the last times we'll play 3 games in 7 or 8 days. So barring any injuries, no, they're not going to start football matches. And as Darren said, they've got to be there on merit, and they haven't been, have they? I mean, when have they ever had an extended period of form where we've all sat there and said they've been brilliant for us for half a season, 15 games, 10 games, or whatever? Hasn't happened. So, no, I can't see that, Chris, to be completely honest with you. And on the Hugo Lloris matter, it saddens me to say, because as an actual shot stopper goalkeeper, he's brilliant, but he's still, at his big age, he's been the captain of France, cannot kick a football. And he's another one why I do not know, as an experienced pro, why he's not doing extras, getting 2 youth team players to close him down and playing out, clipping balls to wide areas, because we've said it, Chris, in discussions in our group chats and whatnot, that if he could kick, then he probably wouldn't have been at Spurs for this long. But
no,
that was ridiculous. What was he doing?
I think he's really weak on corners, on crosses, isn't he? I think if the opposition team pressure him in the box, he seems to be very poor.
He's not too bad at that, though, Rich. I think his biggest weakness is definitely his kicking under pressure
on the ball. And,
it hinders us in a sense that when you're playing out from the back, particularly with a back three, you like to build up from the back. When you've got a goalkeeper who can't beat a press with his kicking, or can't clip the balls through the passing lanes or into wide areas, automatically the whole team has to drop back 10 yards, because Eric Dyer has to take the ball off his feet, and it sets you back. It doesn't get you up the pitch quick enough. And if you look at the likes of Liverpool and City, I know their goalkeepers are special with the ball at their feet, but even Arsenal now, their goalkeepers can beat the first press and the second press with a quality pass, and straight away the team follows the ball. And instead of being 10 yards too deep from where you should have been, you're now 20 yards up the pitch. It makes a huge, huge difference. If you
Who would you take then? Who would you take?
We've been linked with Unai Simon, who is the #1 goalkeeper for the Spanish team, over De Gea for that reason, because he's brilliant with his feet. And that's why he took De Gea's place. But the way that they sell goalkeepers, if you look at Kepa to Chelsea, I don't think we're going to pay what they want. So it's a tough question. And I trust Paratici and Conte, if they're going to do that, or if Conte is going to be around by the time Lloris leaves. I don't know the permutations there, but I do believe that we're going to have to replace Hugo soon. And there's not many great goalkeepers about, if I'm being totally honest with you. Not that I know of, anyway.
Rich, let's come to you now. In the 93rd minute, Harry Kane in the penalty box went down. Penalty for you?
Have we been getting those though recently? I'd like to think it was a penalty. It looked like it was, but have we been getting those recently?
It looked like a stonewall penalty. I can't believe that wasn't given.
2-0 up. I think it was. I think the referee was. It was an easier decision not to give it, because it was at home to Brighton. To me, it looked like the referee had to give us the penalty and had to point to the spot. But again, you just look at. There's been the last couple of weeks. There was one that Newcastle were denied the other week, and I'm going, how has that not been been referred to VAR and then overturned? I just don't understand. I don't understand the rationale behind it.
I think it did. I think it did, though, Rich. And I think that they cleared it up so quickly. And it's like, how on earth you cleared it up so quickly? And if they think that Harry Kane has dived, then surely a yellow card must be given.
I've seen it, Chris. Have you seen the video?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
it was a complete 100% penalty. He hacked his legs away from him and he went over. I mean, you know what Harry's like. Yes, he holds the ball up to try and win the odd free kick. That's part of Harry's game. But if you get him anywhere near the penalty box, and he's going to try and score, for God's sake, he doesn't go over in the penalty box.
So why do you think it wasn't given then? Do you think it was?
God knows. I don't know. And you're right. The VAR was so quick.
Dismissed it. Bizarre. If that was 0-0, I think it's given. I really do. It's 0-0 because it's almost like they just wanted to get off home.
Yeah, but why? I don't. What's the rationale you were saying about 2-0 up against? What difference does that make? If it's a penalty, it's a penalty. I don't understand.
I agree.
Yeah,
it's a genuine question. I don't understand the logic of why they may not give it.
I just think sometimes referees are just like they're influenced on the actual positions of the game at the time. I've seen it a couple of times before. I just don't know if referees go, it's against a home team, the team's losing 2-0, it's 93rd minute. I think a lot of the referees at the moment are very weak in their decision making, and they're not wanting to make that positive decision. It's a penalty, and if it's not, VAR is going to then revoke that position. I've seen it 3 or 4 times, and I'm going, why didn't you give that? If it looked to me as though he didn't give it because he wasn't brave enough. He wanted to get to his car before his windows were put in by the Brighton fans. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Bizarre, Chris. Chris, it was a really bizarre decision.
Yeah.
Poor.
I think he's froze. Is he froze?
We lost Chris.
Oh, there you go.
Who's going to fill in as host?
But no, you're watching the Darren Altman Radio Hour. We've got Richard and Frank. Oh God, here we go. Sorry, carry on.
Sorry, my connection went. Darren, let's come to you now. In the 94th minute, Harry Kane with another fantastic pass to Sergio Reguilon forced a good save from the goalkeeper. Another chance that Sergio Reguilon should have scored.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is, I mean, to be fair, if he's on his left and he's left-footed and the goal is coming out, it is tricky. It is tricky to score those. I mean, I know when Kane does it, his angles are unbelievable. Like, it defies logic. But I mean, they are tricky ones to get if you're left-footed and the keeper's coming out. But I mean, yeah, the pass.
You wouldn't have been saying that if it was 0-0.
So
no,
yes, that is true. But I mean, sometimes you just have to think, well, you know, it's tricky. But yeah, those balls that Kane was pinging tonight was unbelievable. Defense splitting, just unbelievable. Those balls. But
now,
like I said, you know, if we're faced with teams that don't come out, you know, I think that's worth discussing actually. Like Frank said, a lock picker.
Yeah. Well, after the game this evening, Tottenham Hotspur have put a poll out saying who is your man of the match: Romero, Harry Kane, Bentancur, and Hoibjerg. Now, I just want to throw it out there. Now, Oliver Skipp, a key player who is currently out at the moment. Antonio Conte absolutely loves him. Now, with Hoibjerg and Bentancur, both good performances this evening. Frank, let's start with you. When Oliver Skipp comes back, does he walk straight back into this team? If he does, who comes out?
It would obviously be Hoibjerg because Bentancur offers something that none of the other three have got in the two-man central midfield positions that Conte likes to play. So Bentancur's going to be the first name on the team sheet for that position because of what he offers. So it will be between Hoibjerg and Skippy, in my opinion. But it depends on Hoibjerg's form because we all know it. He's not been at his best this season. It's not been a vintage season from Hoibjerg. He's only recently really picked up his form. I think a lot of his poor performances have been to do with the fact that him and Winks do not go well together. He has to cover Winks' inefficiencies quite often. And I think that at the beginning of next season, if everybody's fit, I think it will be Skippy and Bentancur. I do. I just think Skip's got so much potential. As you've said to me before, Chris, from the age of 13, 14, everyone at Spurs, who'd seen him, knew he was going to be a bit of a star. He'd always played up in age. And I just think he's got lots of quality and he's got so much room for improvement. But it's a good headache and a good problem to have at the moment. Hoibjerg, on tonight's performance, Hoibjerg and Bentancur have done well. I thought Hoibjerg played well at Old Trafford. I did. I thought he was one of our best players. So it's a good problem to have. I just think that the obvious one is that we have to sell Winks and get an upgrade there. And then we've got 4 decent options and balanced options in our centre midfield.
What are you laughing at?
Did Anthony tell you to say that?
No, he didn't. But come on, Chris. Come on. No, I'm not going to do a segment about Harry Winks because this isn't a personal vendetta, but he's just good enough for my football club and for where we will be. And
we won't talk about him tonight.
We won't. And if you're listening, and yeah, obviously he's not his biggest fan. And again, it's nothing personal on Harry Winks. I just think we could do better. And you know, it's an obvious one for me.
Yeah. Rich, what do you think about Pierre-Emile Hoibjerg? Do you think he'll be a Spurs player next season?
It just depends on the development of Skippy, like you said. If we're looking to the future, and clearly he's looking like a future Tottenham captain. He looks like he's got the attributes to really drive the team forwards. I think if you're looking at the moment, Hoibjerg, Bentancur are the players that would, for me, be in those two positions. Skippy wouldn't jump straight back in the team, but I think his drive and his energy. But I also think that he's starting to pick some of the leadership qualities that Hoibjerg did last season. I think looking at what Skippy was given us in the first couple of games when he did play, I was feeling that he developed not only just the kind of drive on the ball, but also that leadership quality that we need as a team. Hoibjerg, well, he's going to be here next season. I'm not sure. I'm not sure actually. I think has he reached the milestone that obviously he's done a couple of seasons with Spurs, and now we upgrade. My issue with Hoibjerg has been his speed. He looks sometimes very sluggish on the ball, getting caught in possession. But I was impressed in that first season when he was brought in. I was like, I didn't know a lot about him. I didn't know a lot about what he brings to the team. On the ball and off the ball. Bentancur obviously is a lot fitter, a lot faster, and also his tackling is superb. Where Hoibjerg, I think, sometimes is very clumsy, and he's got into this kind of pulling players back. And I think the last 2 or 3 times he's got yellow cards, it's been in the first half. So for me, I think it's maybe something that we look in, but it's not. When we've got so many other positions that we need to fill, Hoibjerg might be there next season. Might be here, sorry.
I agree. I think we got bigger problems than
bigger fish, right?
Yeah, completely.
Can't replace Hoibjerg and Winks. The obvious one, Winks, and as you guys have said, we've got more pressing priorities, and I can probably guarantee Hoibjerg will be here next season.
Yeah.
Darren, are you surprised how much we've missed Oliver Skipp? The fact that he played in the Championship for Norwich City last season. Are you surprised at how much we've missed him?
Well, I think like Bentancur and Kulashevsky, like he's since he's had his first team place, he's just got stuck in, hasn't he? He's got his position. He plays the way Conte wants him to play, and he's aggressive and he's forward thinking. And we lack that at the moment. All this, whether it's Winks or Hoibjerg, and not every pass, I'm not that naive, has to be a forward pass and a route to goal. Occasionally you have to take stock of where you are in a game. But I mean, with Skipp, he's just got that vision, and that, he's bulked up, and he's not afraid to put in a hard tackle. And I think, you're right. We have missed him. Absolutely. And I think when he comes back, hopefully, if he does sit with Bentancur in the middle, then, we'll have a bloody solid buffer for our defence. Definitely.
It's a good pivot, Darren. You're right. Totally. And he's very, out of all the centre midfielders we've got, he's the best one at pressing and shutting out danger and sort of supporting the wide areas, and he's brilliant for that, Skippy, and he's only going to get better.
Fills in well.
22, 21, Skipp?
21, I think, yeah. Frank, are you concerned about Heung-min Son's form?
Yes. For the running, it's a concern. I think that I agree with the lads, what they said earlier. I think he's knackered. He's had no rest. Who have we rotated him with for the last few seasons? He's been running to the ground. I'd like to see how many minutes he's played. I know he had the injury under Jose. It was quite a bad one, wasn't it, with his hamstrings? And I think we've also probably got to assess that, because when you have such an injury, Richard will know this a lot more than myself. Well, it affects your sprinting when it's a hamstring or muscle injury, and it's a rupture or a tear, or the muscle comes off the bone. And I think possibly there's an element of that. But he does, something's not right. I think it is fatigue, because he's got so much quality. And at the moment, his decision-making's poor. He's overthinking. Even his goal against Everton, it was poor from Pickford. And he missed a couple of chances in that game. And looking at the numbers, I know Kulashevsky's come in and improved that, and his numbers have been brilliant for how many minutes he's played. But our third top goal scorer this season is own goals. So, and Sonny's our second top goal scorer. So if we are to stand any chance of having a brilliant run and finish this season, we have to have him firing. So I don't know what the answer is though, Chris, because do you drop him for West Ham? Do you take him? No, you don't.
No.
To be honest, you don't. So
well,
does he get?
Conte come out and said that he will not be dropping Heung-min Son, and that's the point what I made about the starting 11, because you would think, barring injuries, Conte will be playing this starting 11 for every single game. I know arguably Oliver Skipp could come back into the team, but 10 out of those 11 players would probably play in all 10 remaining Premier League games, and I can't see Heung-min Son being dropped. And Conte said that he's not going to be dropping him. So, what needs to change, Richard, in your opinion, with Sonny?
Well, I think the problem with Sonny is that he's been overworked. He's recovering from an injury. He's had COVID. All these things have made a massive difference to his performance level. And as we know, if you're playing like Saturday, Wednesday, then you need to have your recovery within your sessions. I don't think he's had any kind of rest, any kind of recovery. I think obviously he's very much of a confidence player. You can tell he's obviously got the energy, got the bubbly, but he's very bubbly. But when he's not actually firing, you can see it building. I can see it building on his. He's not making as many kind of runs with the ball at all. There might be an instance where he does actually get rested for maybe a half. If we're doing that press against maybe West Ham, maybe he gets rested for the first half, and then Sonny comes on as that impact player, and then kind of Conte kind of gives him that license to kind of, come on, Sonny, look, you're the player that's going to win this. We kind of sneak that 1-0, we take that away, and Sonny gets that goal. There's clearly there's an issue. I would say he is, like obviously the comment below, probably playing even less than 80%, I would say. Even down to that, how he's actually moving with the ball. He doesn't seem to be actually those real darting runs where he's faster with the ball than a lot of other Premiership players without it. And I'm not seeing that at the moment. I'm seeing that he's getting closed down very quickly. He doesn't look like he's got as many options as he used to have. He used to be flying past players and he used to have lots of options, where now he's getting caught on the ball and he just looks like he's running out of ideas. And even as Conte saying he's not able to drop him, but I think sometimes when Sonny's on the field, Conte feels he can't take him off the field when he's got maybe a couple of options on that would definitely be better in energy wise. I think Sonny's definitely been overused.
He was playing quite deep today. Like, he wasn't making those runs that we're used to seeing. He came quite deep. He didn't seem like, whether it's confidence or tiredness, but he wasn't looking for the ball like we're used to seeing. That was quite bizarre. And I think I made a note in my when I was making notes tonight. I think like in the first half an hour, did he touch it 4 or 5 times? He was completely missing.
Weak.
Bless him.
Confidence as well. And I think his game's based on pace, as we all know. And obviously fatigue affects the players who play that style than the ones who are more sort of footballers who don't necessarily do all the sprinting, because his game is literally a game of sprints. That is Son's game. That's what he's based on. So if you are fatigued and you are jaded and tired for the reasons that Rich mentioned, COVID, injuries, overplayed, then it's certainly going to affect your game if that's your style of play.
But in the second half, when Brighton came out and pressed, and we saw Kane and Bentancur pinging those balls, normally Sonny would be licking his lips. He'd be all over it like a cheap suit. There you go. How's that?
He loves a goal against West Ham, so hopefully Sunday will be his day. Darren, let's stay with you. I want to get on to talking about the Harry Kane comments in the last couple of days and Antonio Conte's comments as well, and get your opinions on these. Darren, Harry Kane said, of course, the manager is working as hard as he can and the players are working hard as well. It's not a quick fix that happens overnight. It takes time and understanding. He needs to talk to the club and chairman to see what direction we need to go as a club. What did you make of these Harry Kane comments?
Oh, I mean, it's a project, isn't it? It's a project. I mean, it's nothing that we don't already know. And Kane's coming out and saying it. I mean, I don't know. It's all about money and investment, isn't it? It's about that, Make it rain, Chris. I think that's what
But as soon as these comments were published, all of the media outlets, they're like, well, Harry Kane's now off to Manchester United. He's now off to Manchester City. Do you expect Harry Kane to leave in the summer?
As long as Conte's there, no. I think that with Conte, we've got a manager that we could win stuff, but we need a pre-season and we need some players. I know we say the same things, week after week. So I don't want to be a damp squib or boring, but we all know what the problem is. We need investment, we need money, we need upgrade on players. And I think as long as Conte gets that, and gets the backing that he needs, I can't see Kane leaving. But I mean, having said that, I thought Jose, when he came, and I've said to you before, Chris, you don't employ world-class managers and then give them fuck all to do with, So
I have to back him, Darren.
I have to.
And there's an element of fan base that are upset with his comments, particularly from Conte, who, by the way, has asked the same questions every week.
Yeah.
So maybe our press officer has to address the media. So you've got to stop asking him these questions about his future and whether he's going to get backed or not, because this is where this narrative comes from, that he's just rubbishing the club and moaning and he's not happy. But Kane and Conte, their ambitions are aligned. They're winners. Kane particularly wants to win trophies. He deserves to win trophies. So it's there's an element of them, obviously, in my opinion, of them putting it to the board. So everybody knows they have to back this football club. We all know it. I mean, you'd be incredibly naive to not think that enough is enough. You cannot go on charging the ticket prices that we charge and not identifying targets and getting your targets in early. I'm talking June or July, not the last day of the window. It shouldn't work like that.
They're talking about Memphis Depay today. They said they're getting there early with him.
No, I can't see that personally. But, I mean, nobody leaves Barcelona for Tottenham if you're playing regularly. Come on, let's be whoever's in charge, whatever the situation is. But it's the typical conundrum that we go through every year. That are we going to get backed? Arsenal done it last summer. They backed their manager. They spent more money than any other club in Europe. Arsenal haven't been in Champions League for 5 years. So there's no excuses for us not to do that. And if they don't back Conte and Conte leaves, I guarantee you Kane will put in a transfer request, or it will be some extremity where he will want to leave this football club because he will think, I've had Jose, I've had Pochettino, we got close, I've had Jose Mourinho, serial winner. Obviously, he got on well with Jose, he's gone. And now if Conte went, that would be the straw that broke the camel's back. And I truly think the only chance we've got of keeping Kane is if Conte's happy at the beginning of the summer, he's going to stay, he's going to get backed, and then Harry Kane says, I'm staying, and that's my opinion. But I think that's
no. I completely agree with you. But the flip side of it, Frank, is God forbid in a million years, if something happens and Conte walks, it doesn't bear thinking about. We'll
come on and talk about Conte in a second. Frank, I just wanted to get your opinion on the whole Harry Kane saga, though, because of course last summer, the whole the Manchester City thing, and everyone said, well, Nuno Espirito Santo come in, and then of course Conte has come in and thinking about winning a trophy, perhaps winning a trophy for Harry Kane, the first one at Spurs. He hasn't done that. It's going to be another trophyless season. Does that make a difference for Harry Kane, or is he now chasing the personal awards? And will he think that Antonio Conte is building something, and is he going to wait around for him to build it?
Possibly, because it seems to me from what he says and from what we hear, he's very, very happy with working with him, particularly with the way that he's helping him look after himself, because we all know Conte's mad on nutrition and recovery. And John Terry tweeted the last word on Spurs' Twitter page. Do you remember, Chris? He said, you'll enjoy Conte. I was in the best physical shape of my career under Antonio Conte. So there's a lot, there's a lot of love between those two, in my opinion. But we're in a quite lucky position in a sense that it seems to me Manchester City are going to get Haaland. Manchester United haven't won a trophy for 5 years now. They're in absolute disarray. I'd be very shocked if he left us for Manchester United. Yeah. He wouldn't go to Chelsea, in my opinion. He's not going to Arsenal. Liverpool have got 5 attacking players. They've just shelled out a shed load of money for Luis Diaz. And I can't see him going to Liverpool. And as we all know, he is obsessed with breaking Alan Shearer's goal-scoring record. So he's not going to leave the Premier League, in my opinion. And the biggest factor in what I've just said is the Haaland to Manchester City deal. It seems to be happening. And if that hadn't happened, I'd be very, very concerned and worried that he'd be going to Manchester City. But that has done us a huge favour that we managed to keep him from last summer, and they seem to be looking elsewhere, because otherwise we'd be in a bit of trouble. But he does deserve to win trophies, Chris. He does, mate, doesn't he? He does. For me, he's the best number 9 in the world. Benzema, Lewandowski could not do what he does at Tottenham Hotspur. And if he played in their teams, he'd get 50 goals a season. And I truly believe that. He's the best all-round number 9 in the world. No one else can pass the football like him. No one else is both-footed like him. And just a general all-round player. We're so lucky to have him at Tottenham. And if we don't kick on and try and build to win trophies with this man in our team, this fantastic world-class football player, then we're crazy.
Yeah, I just feel gutted, really, Frank. The fact that, you know, the managers and the players that have come to our football club and left the football club without winning a trophy, it's just madness. You know, Hugo Lloris been at the club, you know, for 10 years, not won a trophy. It's just it's madness. Rich, before we talk about Antonio Conte, do you want to add anything on the Harry Kane situation?
Well, we've spoke about what Harry Kane's desire is, and obviously his desire is to be a winner and to win trophies, and he's clearly not done that at England and got very close, as close as he did with Spurs and obviously the Champions League. Harry Kane as a player, all the plaudits he gets with the golden boots and the leading assists and goal scorer, I think he still wants those trophies. Whether winning those trophies makes you a better player, obviously with the stuff that I've done within my sport, whether that makes you a better player, it doesn't. I think, but what he's looking for, he's looking to build his legacy in the club, and he's obviously passionate about his team, which is Tottenham Hotspur, and he wants to win not only just for himself but also for the team. And I'd like to think that he continually wants to do that. Whether he's got the time to do that at Spurs, whether he's willing to sign another contract and then play on for a further season after this one, because he'll obviously have to start to think, or Spurs will have to think about persuade him to sign on for another season. And the only reason why they're going to do that is because Conte is going to have the funds and the resources for the team. It's going to be really hard for Spurs if we don't get very close to that top 4, if not in the top 4, to keep a player of Kane's stature. There's going to be so many, obviously, teams that are going to be looking at him, not just the Man Cities of this world. The one thing that I do feel is, obviously, with Jimmy's record, is he going to stay and want to take that? I think that's something that he's always kind of thought. He wants to be the leading goal scorer of our team, and that's something that I'm holding on to, thinking that is it 25 goals now, is it something like that, 25 goals under Jimmy's record, and I think that's going to be something that he looks at for the future. But it's a tough one, mate.
Frank Lampard tonight as well, Rich, didn't he? In the all-time scoring list.
Exactly, so. And he's all about those, isn't he? And I think maybe that he might be kind of going, actually, look, I'm leaving my legacy at Spurs now, but I want to top it off with a trophy. And obviously it's not happening this season. Trophies is what it's all about for clubs, obviously, and we've been so dry with that in the future. We've had all the managers. It's investment. We need that investment in the team. The hierarchy need to kind of hear what the fans are saying. They must be seeing it now. They must be seeing the reason why over the last however many years that we've not got anywhere near the Premier League because of that investment. Those years where we were close and we didn't invest in the transfer market were because of lack of investment. It was clear to everybody.
Well, I think we all know and agree that Antonio Conte is not here just to finish in a Europa Conference League spot, a Europa League spot, or even just a Champions League spot. He wants to win big prizes. He's very used to winning the big prizes. Now, in the last 24 hours, his comments, I have my vision and it doesn't change. I want to fight to win and be competitive. I will always follow my vision. At the end of the season, the club will speak about their vision and then we will see. at one point we'll need to make some decisions. Darren, what have you made of Antonio Conte's comments? Because, you know, the amount of comments that he has come out with now about club's vision, direction, and, you know, talking about the summer. Do you think he'll be a manager next season?
I bloody hope so. I mean, I've said this before, you know, on your show, Chris. You know, it baffles me, and you know, I don't want to start saying, you know, ENIC out, Levy out, and going down that route. But I mean, it does baffle me how you can hire the world's greatest managers and not give them, you know, not carte blanche, because you can't, you know, if you got, you know, if you haven't got X amount of money, you can't find it necessarily, but you can't guarantee that you will spend and get them the players that they want. You know, we had it with Jose, we had it with Conte, and it's baffling to me, really. And like I said to you before, I mean, I'm not a footballing expert, but you would think that there would be something, like when Jose came and when Conte came, wouldn't there be something in their contract that says, that stipulates that I will come to this club on the proviso that I will get X, Y, and Z? Otherwise, you don't get Jose, you don't get Conte. Maybe that's I'm being naive, but you can help me with this. But wouldn't there be something or is that a ridiculous thing to suggest?
Possibly. There would have been verbal agreements. I think personally with Jose Mourinho, I think the pandemic sabotaged any hope that we had of buying him £70 million centre backs, expensive players. But there isn't any excuses any longer. We've got events running at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, fantastic boxing events. We've got world superstar music events. We've got, I've read somewhere that we make £6 million a home game. You guys go to the games. Chris doesn't miss a game. The stadium is always full with beer drinkers hours before the game and late after. We need these naming rights. I think that's obviously apparent desperately. I don't know how close they are or if we've got anything in the pipeline. And it is about time that we fully back to manager, because in my experience, I mean, Pochettino, we went 3 windows without signing a single player when he was competing for titles, which is incredible. But in my lifetime, I can't remember, or certainly under the tenure of ENIC, I can't remember us backing the manager, fully backing the manager. I'm not saying backing the manager is spending £300 million in a window and throwing money at it, but buying the players that the manager wants, giving them a whole and complete squad with maximum options. And we have to try and do that now. There are no excuses. Everything is in place. The infrastructure of the club. We've got the manager. We've got some good players. We've got a good core to build from. But we need 5 or 6 top quality players to add to this squad to be able to compete again. And there are no excuses.
And if we did get those players, we could, without a shadow of a doubt, compete with, you know, your Cities and your Liverpools. Like, with, you know, get rid of all the dross and keep, like, you know, your Kanes, your Songs, your Bentancurs, you know, players that we really can rely on and take us forward. You know, make the 5 or 6 signings, get a really good transfer window, and we're not a million miles off. We're not.
I was going to come back to you, Frank, because I've been asking this question a lot to the guests that have been on recently about, you know, what is the definition of backing Antonio Conte? So in the summer for you, it is buying 5 or 6 players.
Yeah, because that's what we need. Because if you look at that, our back 3, you take away the starting 3, the backups of Joe Rodon, Davinson Sanchez, and Tanganga. You know, you strip that back. You take out, at the moment, Harry Winks is getting a run of games. He's not good enough because we've got not enough quality there. As Rich said earlier in the show, or Darren, Emerson Royal, Matt Doherty are starting games by default, not by merit, because we haven't got enough quality in those positions. We haven't got anyone else. We've got one senior striker at the football club, one number 9. Son's not a striker. He can't play with his back to goal. He's not going to hold the ball up and bring others into play. We need options. You need a squad if you want to compete for trophies and not just in the league. So backing Antonio Conte would be building him a more whole squad. And to get that close, we do need, in my opinion, 5 players. And that's a minimum. and that's realistic as well. We're not going to sign 8 or 9 players. It's just stupid. But we need 5 players, 4 or 5 players, and we need to get rid of the players who are not good enough.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you need to have those weapons on the bench, don't you?
Yeah.
I agree with you, Frank. It is realistic that we could get 5 or 6 players in, and Antonio Conte, without doubt, without question, must be backed in the summer, by the club. Rich, do you want to come to you? Is there any part of you that feels a little bit frustrated by Antonio Conte's comments, because this seems to be a regular thing now?
Yeah, but he's only saying what kind of the fans and we're all thinking, isn't it? I think with previous managers, we've all had this fugazi kind of false news kind of, or this kind of bullshit where Conte's like, he says what he thinks. After a bad win, gets that microphone thrown in his face, and he's kind of going to say to the press how terrible it is at the moment and how and X, Y, and Z. Having a manager like Conte, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get passion. That Italian charisma, you're gonna get what he does on the touch line. He's a motivator. You can tell what he does at half time with the players. But you've also got to appreciate that sometimes he's going to get pissed with not just his players and his backroom staff, but also the club and how they're not showing that ambition for the players, for the manager and for the direction of the club. And that's what's really important, because the fans are saying that on the stands. You hear it all the time, Chris. You hear that the fans are frustrated with, we've come unstuck again because of lack of commitment, ambition, resilience from the board to kind of go, actually, this is a manager that we really want, we really believe in. And when Conte goes, we need to have a centre back, wing backs, we need to have this number 10. Let's go and get the players that he wants. Let's really back him. Let's believe that he's going to take the club forwards and not just think on the financial side, which obviously the board do think about a lot.
This might be a really ridiculous thing to say, and some people may laugh at it, but if Spurs went out and bought 5 or 6 really decent players, is it realistic that Antonio Conte could challenge for the Premier League title? Because that's exactly what he wants.
We are, at this moment in time, I understand what Darren's saying. He said we're not a million miles away from City and Liverpool, but our sides have been built over a period of time.
Yeah.
Top quality. It will be extremely difficult, Chris. It will be. They are mentality monsters as well. They've been there, they've done it, they've got the T-shirts. So they all said it. Jose said it and Conte said it. It's easier to win all the other leagues in Europe. It is if you're a manager of a certain side. In this league, it is the hardest, most demanding league in the world. And I honestly, if we did get 5, even if we got 5 world-class players to be able to gel them all, put them all together and have a proper run at the title, if we're in European competition as well, I think it's unrealistic. But if we can see progression and we can see progress and we can close that gap and we can compete with them and build on that, then I think the fans would be happy. I would anyway.
Leicester did it.
Biggest miracle in sporting history, that Leicester win. I don't think it'll be repeated. I think it's a one-off. I really do. And at that point, you've got to remember, Darren, a lot of teams were in transition when Leicester done it. Arsenal had just fallen off from the sort of Wenger era. They were sort of nearing the end of that time. Chelsea were in a transitional period. Pep had just got in at City. They had some poor players. If you remember the keeper, who was it? The goalkeeper they had for the first season. They got rid of him straight away. They had Nolito. They had these. Klopp had just got there at Liverpool. They were a very up and down and funny side. So Leicester, the timing for that was perfect. It all sort of just came together for them, and that was probably the season that we should have won the league if we because it was there.
Well, after today's result, Tottenham Hotspur are up to 7th in a Europa Conference League spot. Same points as West Ham with a game in hand. West Ham are currently they've got a better goal difference. We're now 2 points away from Manchester United in 5th. We've got a game in hand over them. We're now 3 points away from 4th place Arsenal. They've played 1 game less than us. We've got 10 games left in the Premier League. Next up, West Ham United on Sunday. Frank, let's start with you. Now, the 10 Premier League games left, we've got West Ham, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Brighton, Brentford, Leicester, Liverpool, Burnley, Norwich, and then, of course, that rearranged fixture against Arsenal to be confirmed. But West Ham up next on Sunday. They play tomorrow. They play Thursday night in the Europa League against Sevilla. They are 1-0 down from the first leg in the Europa League. How do you expect this game to go on Sunday? And do you expect Spurs to pick up the 3 points?
Well, I'd like to think so. I always tend to fancy us at home, even though we've had a couple of indifferent results at home recently. But West Ham, they've won at our stadium before. They beat us in the first game in the stadium. They played well in the League Cup game, which we beat them in. So it's going to be tough. I think a lot of that depends on tomorrow, because that will be an absorbing game for them. I think Jared Bowen's out on Sunday as well. If it goes to extra time, they're going to be absolutely shattered. So, but then again, you look at the pattern of win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. You just don't know. But I'd like to think,
Don't
Chris,
go there, Frank.
No, but I'd like to think, mate, that we could put it together for such a big game. I mean, the crowd is going to be buzzing at the stadium. It is. It's always a feisty game with West Ham, but you just don't know with the Spurs side, do you? Really? But again, we've got to take positives. Barring the game against United, which we should have really won, 3 wins from 4, 13 goals scored in those 4 games. That's something to build on. And do you know what? I'm going to stick my neck out. I'm going to say we're going to beat West Ham on Sunday.
What score prediction are you going with, Frank?
I can see them scoring, so 2-1 or 3-1 to Tottenham. But yeah, I'm going to say we're going to win on Sunday. Maybe I'm deluded. I don't know. Maybe I'm just, it's the hope that kills you and all the rest of it. But I just fancy us on Sunday. I do. Frank,
also, where do you realistically think that Spurs will finish in the Premier League? Because when I read those 10 fixtures out, what ones are you worried about? We've got 30 points to play for. And what other teams around us are you worried about? Because Arsenal have been playing some good football. I hate to admit it, but they have. Of course, they lost to Liverpool this evening. But what teams really worry you? And can Tottenham get top 4 in your opinion?
We've got 6 home games, which is massive. We've obviously the rescheduled Arsenal games. Game rather. I think Villa away is not easy. I think we beat Brentford away. I think Anfield is a bit of a write-off, and then we have Norwich away. So looking at that and looking at Arsenal's run, Arsenal have got Newcastle away, Villa away, West Ham away, Chelsea away, Spurs away. Arsenal have got 4 home games left. We could, and as Richard said and Darren said, it would be an overachievement in my opinion. And Arsenal, it's in their hands. Although they've got this tough run of games, we could sneak top 4. We could. But it's so hard. It's so hard to predict, Chris. It is. I honestly don't know, mate. But those away games are not that difficult, barring the Anfield one. They're not. Come on, Norwich and Brentford away, and then we've got a lot of home games. So it's achievable. It is achievable.
Well, Roy writes on the screen, if we win on Sunday, then 4th is achievable. I'll tell you what, Frank, after Sunday's game, we're going into the international break. So what a huge lift it would give us fans, Antonio Conte, the players, of course, the likes of Heung-min Son can have a rest for a couple of weeks. That would give us huge belief, wouldn't it, if we could get the 3 points Sunday?
Massive. It would. Psychologically, and obviously looking at the table as well, it really would. But we've got to be lucky with injuries. I mean, Chris, if anything happens to Kane, it's not happening. It's not. We could easily slide off and finish 7th or 8th. It's, we haven't got that depth. So we've got to be, the other teams have as well, but we've got to be very lucky with injuries.
Yeah. Rich, first up, the West Ham game. How do you see that one going?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really tight. I think we're going to try and go after them early and try and obviously take an early lead. Whether I see the Hammers scoring, I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether it's just 2-0 or 1-0. I'm not. I've kind of had a kind of a thought about what, obviously, especially with their game against obviously Seville midweek. Will they? Because they're going to have to go for that. It's an all or nothing for them. Obviously, they're going to kind of really put all their eggs in the basket, I believe, for that, because Hammers haven't been in this position in the league before. Especially not for a long time. They probably think that they're not in the driving seat with that 4th place, and maybe they're thinking that maybe either Man United or Arsenal are going to nick that. And I think that's given us maybe a little bit of a step up for that game at the weekend. I see us being very solid. I think Conte wants us to go into that home game as being very solid from the front, moving backwards. whether we let the Hammers have a little bit more possession and then hit them on the break. But I think it's going to be a really, really tight game, and I don't think there's going to be many goals. So I'd go maybe a 1 or 2-0.
Rich, how are you feeling about Tottenham for European football next season? Because as I said, we're currently we're currently in a Europa Conference League spot again. You know, I've read out that we're 3 points away from top 4. How confident are you for a Champions League spot, or do you think it would be Europa League, or would you even want to play in the Europa Conference League again?
Yeah, definitely don't want to play in that shit, do we? Last time we spoke about that, I think Lee McQueen was in a car, so you're in a car this time, mate. So, and you've definitely not had as many beers as Lee McQueen had last time. So,
well, do you know, in all those away trips I've done in the Europa Conference League, I still didn't see us win.
Don't know why you do this, Christian.
Don't be winning more games then, mate.
Mate, they'll be putting your face on a mural on the wall in Tottenham. Don't know about Eddie King.
Let's have a statue. Let's have a Chris Cohen statue. It's like Gareth Bale when Gareth Bale was playing for Spurs at first, wasn't it? How many games did he? Was it 19 or something? 19 games before we had a win.
Come on, Rich. Come on, Rich. You can't dodge the question. Where do you think Spurs will finish at the end of the season?
Let's go back to Matt Doherty, eh? No, so I think I said 5th, didn't I? I think the first time I came on the show this season, I think I said 5th. I'm always optimistic. Yeah, 5th. I can see. You just look at. I'm very much around. Look at the form table. Look at the teams around us. Look at, do we deserve to be in the top 4? I think if we're in the top 4 at the end of the season, I'm going to party, and everybody's invited. I think it's going to be a good one because Conte would have done a great job with the players that he's got and overachieved. But unfortunately, I think we'll be in 5th.
Rich, do you think it's going to make a difference to Antonio Conte by finishing in the Champions League, Europa League, or Europa Conference League? If he still gets backed in the summer in the way that he wants to be backed, will it matter what European competition he's playing in?
You need to speak to the board about that. I think from obviously past experience, you've got to look at past experience, haven't you? And that clearly does. He just wants to win the Premier League and he wants to be competing in the Champions League. Would we still keep him if we didn't finish 4th? It's 50-50. I think it's literally as tight as that. He's a born winner. He's not going to want the failure on his CV as Spurs. But Jose obviously got sacked, but really walked away from the position. It wasn't for him. I think the Tottenham job is I think Conte's a player that Conte's a manager that wants to be successful at Spurs. But it's all down to the board. I think Conte. There's obviously we think about the media, and the media said that we've not got any real targets at the moment. I think that's rubbish. I think Conte's already given the board the players that he wants in the summer. He already knows the players that are out of contract. He's made those contacts with the players. He's already actively speaking to other players, as we know. Like obviously with the Ericssons of this world. I think we need to get these players in early. We need to give Conte the time to work with them, and he has the ability to make us better, to make us challenge. But we are a million miles away at the moment. Like Frank said, we're 4 or 5 players, but it's not 4 or 5 players that could just come into the team. They need to give us the kickstart that we need. The Bales of this world, you know what I mean? 130, 140 million pounds needs to be spent.
We need world-class players in. Darren, let's come to you. West Ham game, how do you think that one will go?
Well, I'm hoping if we were away, I would be less optimistic. I would probably think that we were going to get thumped. I think that the fact that we're at home and we've just beaten Brighton away, hopefully, I think it's all to do with the fans. You know what Spurs fans are like. When we're up, we're up, and you know, and if a goal is scored against us or we're not playing well, we just go within ourselves again. Unfortunately, I won't be there, but on Saturday. But I just think that the fans have got a really big part to play. I think that if the fans are up, which they will be, because the atmosphere against West Ham, as you know, can be filthy. It can be quite tasty. Do you know what I mean? So I'm hoping that they're really going to be up for it. And I mean, I can see us beating them 2-0. I can see us beating them 2-0 at home. Because it's like you said right at the beginning of this show, to bring it full circle. I think it's a must win. I mean, if we win, we kick on, and if we don't, the heads go down. And I'm ignoring that. You're trying to put things in the bottom left corner. I can't see it. I can't see it. I think that you've thrown me now. I think that if we win, we kick on, and we. It's sitting in a drawer down there. Thank you for asking. It's very kind of you.
And also, Darren, where do you think we'll finish? And what do you think Lord Sugar would think where we would finish?
I think that fifth. I mean, ideally we finish in fourth. I think fifth. I think Europa League wouldn't be a bad, considering the season we've had and the players we've got. I don't think we could hang our heads in that much shame if we got fifth. Do you? What do you think?
Conte wants Champions League football. Harry Kane wants Champions League football. I just think that we desperately need Champions League football.
We do. There's a difference between desperately wanting something and attaining it, you know.
Well, he said that the players, Hugo, Sonny, Harry Kane, they've got to give 120, 130%. All these players have got to give absolutely everything in these next 10 games without question. So, you know, we've got to get over that line. And you've got to have the confidence, really, with a serial winner, you know, someone like Antonio Conte trying to get us over that line. That's why I have the confidence that Spurs could do it. But, you know, we've got to show up and we've got to win that game on Sunday. It's a huge game.
You're absolutely right, but I mean, I don't want to put the mockers on it, but I mean, there's a difference between giving 120 and 130%, Chris, and actually having the ability. You know, like if players are flawed, then they can give 190%. You know, and you know, that's my thoughts.
Yeah.
What do you think about Doherty? Sorry, I'm joking. Carry on.
I was going to say, what would Lord Sugar say?
No, he probably said, now, with respect, now you've tried to host a football pundit show, okay, and you ballsed it up. You lost your connection. The light went out, and with respect, you're not what I'm looking for. So, Chris, you're fired. Okay.
Thank you. Well, on that note, Frank, thanks so much for joining us this evening, and tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Thanks for having me back, Chris, and Darren and Rich. Brilliant guests. Really enjoyed tonight's show. I'm on Twitter, tweeting everything Spurs on, as you can see, or if you can't see, it's at @FrankMajor_. And literally, that's all I tweet about. So if you're a Tottenham fan, give me a follow. And thanks, guys, for having me on tonight, and Chris particularly. I've really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Frank. Really enjoyed talking to you this evening. And Rich, tell everyone what you're up to. You're currently in Tenerife doing some training.
I'm in Tenerife. I'm actually with a charity at the moment, doing some work with a charity called AMP Camp, which supports amputees that are going through rehabilitation and helping them get back into sporting activity. I try and do as much as I can for not just obviously just training, but also for charitable causes. So it's great to get the opportunity to come out to Tenerife and do some bit of training, and also I do some really great work with some amputees. But yeah, just back into training and hopefully Boston Marathon in a month or so.
Wow!
And everybody knows where they can follow me. It's like Marathon Champ or whatever, not Marathon Chump. Somebody says, is it Marathon Chump? It's definitely not. It's Champ.
Also, Rich, mention the fact that you're giving the opportunity of people actually running with you at an event soon.
Yeah, I've actually got a Run with Rich event on June the 25th in Nottingham. We're going to see loads of Spurs fans there. come down. It's a fully inclusive run, jog, walk, whatever. It's just a real big community event. I've started my own foundation. It's about helping those that are less fortunate ourselves, and we can all do so much more. Obviously, at the moment with the Ukraine situation and obviously post-COVID, we just need to all work for each other, and it's great to obviously have this opportunity to speak about obviously Spurs that I'm passionate about, but also obviously have a charity that I'm really passionate about as well. So thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us, Rich. Really enjoyed talking to you. And Darren, tell everyone what you're up to at the moment.
What am I up to? Doing my voiceovers, busy doing my voiceovers. I'm hosting some bits and pieces. Why are you laughing at me, for God's sake? What else? Yeah, doing my stand-up comedy. Got some new Boris stuff that I've written. So
share with us then. Come on, share with us. You can't just say you've written it. Share with us.
So yeah.
Everyone wants your Boris. Everyone wants Boris, Darren.
How did Boris become prime minister? Well, I'm a man of the people, Wagwan fam. Boris Bojo in the hizzle, spitting bars. Yes. Well, you take the demeanor of a Boy Scout. Then add in the physique of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and then the haircut of Wurzel Gummidge. Yes.
That's brilliant. That's actually brilliant. Honestly, that is so
made
good.
You laugh, so that there you go.
Nice work.
So yes, and that's what I do. I do voices on your TV and radio. Crazy Claw! It's a new kids game that the whole family will love. And I end up talking like this day, and I smell like a fucking cock. Yeah.
Well, on that note, Darren, thank you so much for joining us. Darren, Frank, and Richard, thank you so much for your time this evening, and thank you for all of the comments from all of the viewers this evening. Let's hope that Tottenham can continue this winning form into Sunday and beat West Ham United and climb up that Premier League table, and hopefully at the end of the season we get Champions League for Antonio Conte and Harry Kane and all of us fans. Thanks for watching, everyone. Come on, you Spurs.